We are live. We are live.
Okay, perfect. So I guess I'm the chair, am I?
Looks that way, Brian.
I totally forgot. We should have more meetings more frequently. Okay, so I call the meeting to order at 2:03 p.m. Is there any okay, need an approval of the agenda?
So moved, Brian.
Perfect.
I
Thank you,
can
Bob.
second that, Brian.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, and I need adoption of the minutes for the April 8th, 2025. Kelly, thank you. And Bob, thank you. Okay, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof?
No.
Seeing none. Okay. From the accessibility, we got a delegation presentation from the accessibility to belonging, centering dignity in and around our community. Who's doing that?
That would be
Jenna.
Jenna. That's our guest speaker today.
Hi, Jenna. I was going to say I didn't recognize the face, but like I said, we don't meet frequently enough. Okay, go ahead, Jenna. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, so much for having me. I am going to share my screen. I'll see how I do here.
Perfect, Jenna.
Can folks see that okay? I'm just
Yes.
going to move you around on my screen a little bit here. And can everybody hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, excellent. All right, so I will jump in. My name is Jenna Lambert-Lee, and on the slide there is a picture of my face from about the chest up with a red and black background. I'm wearing a white blazer, a black dress, and a poppy, as this photo was taken in November. I am a 5-foot tall woman with reddish hair just past my shoulders, blush-colored glasses, and blue eyes. Today, I'm wearing, I know you can only really from the video see it at my shoulder level, but I'm wearing sort of a velvet green top. For about the last 20 years, I've used forearm crutches and sometimes a lime green mobility scooter to get around. And today I'm grateful to be speaking to you from the comfort of my home, which limits my need for mobility aids and increases my physical comfort. This really reminds me that accessibility isn't always about expensive or complicated solutions, although those, of course, matter too and shouldn't be avoided by any means. But sometimes it's simply about allowing folks to participate in ways that work for them and creating spaces where we're free to be authentic and comfortable without the pressure to hide parts of ourselves. I'm going to start today, if you don't mind, with a bit of a story and kind of reflecting on my own experience from an accessibility lens. The wheels of my cagey walker that needed to be oiled badly followed me loudly down a slippery pool deck. I was born with cerebral palsy, a disability that affects my mobility and means that I use walking aids to get around on land. On this particular day and on this particular pool deck, I toted a stainless steel box on wheels that both kept me upright and at times embarrassed me as well. I was about 9 years old and running to the change room in my unique and not so speedy, uncoordinated fashion. It was my very first swim meet. My coach, world-renowned marathon swimmer Vicky Keith, had signed me up for the 100-meter breaststroke, which was 4 lengths of the 25-meter pool. And although I can sort of now look back and recognize that at the time I was managing a wave of overwhelming performance anxiety, at that point it really just felt like a cruel and unusual joke. I swim without using my legs, which means that in most races against my peers without disabilities, I end up exiting the pool well after the last swimmer has finished. So many eyes on me, so far behind everyone else, so many uncomfortable seconds to reflect on how awkward and slow I am. I could do 50-meter races and basically keep up with everyone. There wasn't as much time to be self-conscious, but 100 meters? No, thank you. I didn't end up swimming that day. I sat in the change room instead and cried. And my coach comforted me and congratulated me for at least getting into my bathing suit and onto the pool deck. I went to the next 2 swim meets without even getting my toes wet. Not too long after my change room breakdown, the Penguins had our very first swim meet at the Variety Village Flames, a swim team out of Toronto for athletes with disabilities. At that very first swim meet with the Flames, I watched as athletes of all ages, stages, and abilities gave everything they had to the water. Every athlete was unique, and their needs and capacities on land varied greatly. But in the water, there was a sameness that was comforting. All of their passion, energy, effort, intensity, tenacity, everything was left in the pool. I wish I could say that that day changed everything. That at 9 years old, I looked at the beauty and complexity of humanity, chlorinated as we were, and figured out that it was enough to give my everything to what I loved and let my experience speak for itself. But I can't say that. I can't ever really say that I loved the competitive side of my sport, but I can say that I started to swim differently after that, to give everything I had to the water and to find joy and freedom in being myself, pushing myself to the limit and seeing just how much further I could go. This was one of the first times that I realized that inclusion isn't about lowering the bar. It's about widening opportunities, opening the door more fully so that each of us can contribute fully in the ways we're prepared and empowered to do so. And I think that same lesson has carried me well beyond the pool. Fast forward a few years, I'm about 12 years old and swimming at the national level, traveling all over North America, competing with some of the best para-athletes in the country. My coach has planned a marathon crossing for the upcoming summer, a grueling 80-kilometer journey across Lake Ontario using butterfly, the most difficult of the 4 competitive strokes. I remember being on the boat for this epic adventure as the coach I knew and loved swam tirelessly, stroke after stroke through the dark-tossed waters of Lake Ontario. I remember thinking, I want to do this someday. I want to make a difference, to serve others, to use my talents to do good. I want to push myself to take on the impossible. I remember even having really to bite my lip to keep from asking Coach if she would train me the minute she climbed out of the water. I was so excited and inspired. I wanted to share in her victory, to be part of this world that she created where anything is possible if you swim long and hard enough. I was 15 years old when I got into the lake and started my own crossing, peering out confidently into the distance, although I couldn't yet see my destination. Surrounded by my coaches, family, friends, and crew members who were boarding boats that would be beside me at all times, I took a deep breath and readied myself to cross Lake Ontario. I walked a little further into the water and found my balance. Here I knew peace and freedom, unlike anything I experienced on land. I turned my face into the sunlight and said a prayer of thanksgiving and a petition for strength, knowing that God would accompany me into the darkness and solitude of the lake. This first crossing would take me from Barrett Point, New York, to Lake Ontario Park in Kingston. We had estimated that it would take approximately 24 hours, accounting for wind and the unpredictability of weather systems, to swim the 35-kilometer crossing. 24 hours came and went with no sign of the Kingston shoreline. I was stagnant, stuck in a channel current near Simcoe Island, not going forward or back for nearly 4 hours before Vicky called my name from her vantage point in the lime green kayak by my side. "Jenna," she said, "look at me." I brought my head out of the water and felt thankful that my goggles hid my tears of frustration. "It doesn't feel like I'm moving," I yelled sloppily. "You're caught in a current, but the navigational team is working on a new path to Kingston for you. It's gonna take longer, but trust me, I know you can do it." I followed the kayakers who turned me back the way I had come. Great. Now I'm actually going backwards. I swam in a lackluster daze for several more minutes before Coach called my name again. 400 meters to my right was Simcoe Island, off the coast of Kingston. It had been about 28 hours since I had seen land, and I fought the urge to cry again. "Jenna," Vicky called to me. I brought my ears out of the water and didn't say anything as she looked at me. "Do you want to touch Simcoe Island?" My tired brain sputtered for a minute and struggled to piece together what she was asking me. See, for a marathon swimmer to touch land in the middle of a crossing means the end of the swim. Swimmers aren't allowed to touch anything besides water and sustenance, the occasional energy drink, a soggy granola bar, or a warm bottle of fresh water over your head throughout the duration of the swim, if the crossing is to count as a true marathon. So I knew what Vicky really meant was, "Are you ready to quit?" I could hear the thoughts behind her words. "Everyone will be proud of me. You've been in the water far longer than expected. You still have a long way to go." But I could also hear the challenge in her voice. "I know you have it in you." I thank God and my parents for the stubborn tenacity and grit that has led to the most of the successes in my life, this one included. I lifted my chin as best one can when battling waves in the middle of Lake Ontario and felt a fresh wave of determination swell through me. I was raising money for our new pool. My teammates and crew members were counting on me, and I was not a quitter. I stuck my head back in the water and powered through the next few kilometers. Coach climbed in the water and swam beside me at that point and started swimming at my pace without using her legs. We challenged each other and she encouraged me to keep going. After nearly 30 hours in the water, I swam the fastest 2 kilometers of my entire marathon. Vicky climbed from the water as I had a few kilometers to go. I rounded what I've affectionately named the never-ending rock wall, just out from Lake Ontario Park, after 32 hours in the water. It's really only about 400 meters long, but 400 meters feels much more like 4,000 when you're as tired and waterlogged as I was by that point. I could hear the crowd cheering for me. Their chanting was deafening, even under the water. Thousands of people had gathered. My sister and Coach were on one side in the lime green kayak, and my parents were already waiting for me on shore. I brought my arms up over my head and finished the last few meters butterfly, just to prove to myself that even at my most tired, I still have something left. After 32 hours and 18 minutes, I used my KG walker to climb unsteadily out of the gritty cold water and onto land. I was the first woman with a physical disability to ever complete a crossing of Lake Ontario. I went on to complete the longest ever recorded triathlon for a person with a disability and swam at the international level in competitive sport for a number of years. As I look back on those years, I'm filled with gratitude and some sadness. I realize now as an adult how much of my childhood journey to conquer the impossible was inspired by a perceived need to prove myself and an effort to establish my worth. I'm grateful for every opportunity that I was given to push myself beyond the limits of my physical and mental capacity, as I know that they strengthened me and shaped the human that I am today. And I'm also grateful for the lessons I've learned along the way. I've come to recognize inclusion not as a nice to have, but as a human right. I've seen that accessible practices benefit everyone, and I've come to appreciate that my worth isn't grounded in how fast I can swim, what I can achieve, or who other people think I should be. And this lesson has shaped how I see accessibility today. For too long, folks with disabilities, myself included, have had to prove our right to belong. But true inclusion means recognizing dignity and participation as rights, not rewards. Fast forward a few more years, I studied communications, psychology, and philosophy at Carleton University before truly finding my joy in their Master of Social Work program. As an MSW student in my final year of my master's, I got to be part of building a program that would assist students with disabilities to find and maintain gainful employment during their studies and after graduation. I've been in my current role for nearly 8 years. I've worked with hundreds of students, and I have to tell you what a unique privilege it is to go to work every day knowing that I'm making a difference in the lives of those students. It's a real honor to be part of their academic and career journey and to work with campus and community employers who are committed to breaking down barriers, confronting stigma, challenging problematic attitudes, and championing for inclusion in the workplace. And while all of that is true and important, I've also seen the barriers up close. Interviews that focus more on performance under pressure than on actual skills. Assumptions that disability means less reliability or competence, and biases that show up when people have already made their minds up before giving someone a chance. I've also seen how often students feel the pressure to mask, to hide their needs in order to fit in. I think that kind of masking comes at a great cost. True accessibility means intentionally creating spaces where folks don't have to pretend, where flexibility and adaptability are built in, and where gentle, intentional support allows folks to be vulnerable. Because when people feel safe enough to drop the mask, they can bring their full selves, and that benefits everyone. These lessons remind me that accessibility isn't an individual task. It's a collective one. It's not only about what a person with a disability does to persist, but how communities, employers, and committees like this one choose to show up. When we make flexibility, empathy, and dignity part of our culture, we remove the pressure to mask and open the door to authentic connection. Theodore Roosevelt said, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat." My 9-year-old self never imagined I would leave the change room and conquer the lake. I think it takes courage and vulnerability and a willingness to learn new helpful habits and to unlearn old unhelpful ones, and a whole lot of patience and perseverance to move from hiding to thriving. I want to encourage us today, to encourage one another and to encourage our young people, but they don't have to wait in the change room. Let's recognize our biases and the systems like environmental and attitudinal barriers that create exclusion and added challenges for folks with disabilities, and commit to investing in a process that promote inclusion and dignity. I think when we make room for people to participate in ways that work for them, spaces where folks can show up authentically without masking, and be met with flexibility and softness, our entire community thrives. At its core, accessibility isn't just about addressing barriers for folks with disabilities. It's about recognizing the shared humanness in every experience. Thanks, folks. We have, I think, a few minutes, Kelly, for questions. I'm happy to
Yes, yeah.
respond to anything related to my lived experience or training in accessibility and inclusion.
Alrighty, any
Okay,
questions?
does it? Yeah. Bob, if you don't have anything, I want to say thank you, Jenna, for joining us. I know that your schedule is
I do.
really crazy, so I appreciate you taking the time to join us. But also, I was curious. I know that you graduated from Carleton shortly after I did, and that the program that you currently work in didn't exist when I was there. So I congratulate you on formulating that program. I think it's a really important one. And I know you guys are doing great work. But I'm curious to know, um, I kind of know myself some of the statistics and barriers that come along with trying to find employment as a person with a disability. But can you tell us what kind of barriers, not in specifics, of course, because I know you can't, but what kind of barriers your students face and what kind of things that communities can do to help them overcome those? I think that would be great for people to know.
Yeah, Kelly, that's such a thoughtful question. I appreciate it. And I can speak from many experiences when I say that the when I'm doing training in accessibility, one of the main pieces that we focus on is this idea of attitudinal barriers, attitudes, stigma, stereotypes, problematic thoughts and ideas about disability that are pervasive in society, whether it's thinking of folks with disabilities as less competent or capable or able, or thinking of folks as needing to be rescued, or thinking of folks as an object to be pitied, or and I realize often our thoughts aren't that explicit, right? Of course, we are well-intentioned, lovely humans, and so we don't sort of walk around intending to have our biases, perceived negatively by another person. Of course we don't. And at the same time, reality says that folks with disabilities are encountering attitudinal barriers all the time. Students are coming to me with all kinds of fear around disclosure of disability in the workplace, and all kinds of hangups because of prior negative experiences in employment and in other life contexts. And I think, for us, I talk about this idea of kind of the shared experience of humanness. I think it's really important for us to all examine at various points in our lives, and sometimes daily, sometimes, in the work that I do, I'm constantly learning and unlearning new ways to talk about disability and accessibility and inclusion. And I think it's important for all of us to examine our ideas about disability, our models of disability. I'm getting into a lot of complexity here, but a lot of our ideas about disability are grounded in what we call the medical model, right? This idea that disability is somehow wrong or needing to be cured, or problematic in some way. And a lot of that kind of ideology is what we think about when we think about disability, and that impacts the way that we talk about it. It impacts the way that we speak to people. It impacts the way we think about people and their experiences. And so I think it's important that we examine kind of what our ideas are about disability, and where that comes from and why, and then to move through the world if we can, and this is really general, not super specific, but to move through the world in a way that promotes dignity, rather than just sort of operating on those preconceived ideas about individual experiences. Let's, move away from making assumptions about competence and capacity and move toward curiosity and acceptance and caring.
Great, thank you so much, Jenna. I relate so much to what you're saying, and I try to emulate that as well myself throughout the years. But I think it's important for people to hear it from other people besides the ones that are always saying it. So I appreciate your time and your energy. It's very important to our community, I think. So I thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Kelly, so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jenna. That was an amazing summary you gave there of that, and I just want to congratulate you on your courage. As a competitive swimmer when I was younger, I would never have the nerve to conquer Lake Ontario. So it's that's very gratifying to see that. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that so much.
Okay, next.
So thank you, Jenna. You're welcome
Yes.
to exit the meeting if you like.
Thanks,
We
Kelly.
will chat soon.
Okay, sounds good. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, so on to matters for consideration. Loyalist Township site plan checklist. Is James going to speak to this?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Through Chair Calvert, I'm just going to give a brief overview. So Loyalist Township is introducing an accessibility checklist to be used by developers and staff during the site plan control approval process. The checklist is a tool which will help ensure that development is complying with the applicable accessible policies in our zoning bylaw, as well as provincial regulations and legislation. At this time, township staff are looking for feedback from the Joint Accessibility Committee on the checklist. A draft version of the checklist can be found attached to the report on the agenda. Once the checklist is finalized and all said and done, it will be incorporated into a larger township development guideline that will be used by the public and developers as well as staff. So I'm here for any questions and to take down any comments you have on the checklist. Thank you.
Yeah, James, it's quite a checklist. I went through it there, and it's nice to see that it'll actually be laid out black and white as to what's for developers, easy to understand. Once this is approved, is this something that could be shared with other municipalities as well, so everybody's kind of on the same page length?
100%. And to be transparent, the basis of it was from Hastings County. So it's something that a lot of municipalities sort of have one checklist and then we all kind of make our own. So 100% we'd be more than happy to share it around with other municipalities.
Excellent, thank you. Any other questions for James regarding this site plan?
I think it's a very good idea, Brian, to make it transparent to all municipalities, because as we know, some of the developer comes in and doesn't have that tool handy enough. There can be mistakes made, and then we all know what it costs to rectify mistakes. So by reading that, I would say that everybody would be on the same page.
Yep. Okay. I guess we're looking for a motion to note and receive. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get that motion?
I can do that.
Kelly and Bob, thank you very much. That was very well done.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you, James. Item number 2, Loyalist Township Compliance Report. Is Gillian going to speak to that? There we are, Gillian.
Hi, so through Councillor Kelver, every 2 years, municipal government are legislated to submit these compliance reports. So this is just a draft version of what Loyalist Township will be submitting to the province by the end of the year. We have it in draft form. We plan to also bring this to our council along with our multi-year accessibility status report, hopefully in November, and then everything will be added to our website once it is in final version. We just wanted to provide this to the committee for review and if anyone had any comments on it.
Any comments for Gillian?
Everything looked very well done. I think you did a thorough job. I don't think there are any things that need to be altered at this time, from my perspective.
Alrighty. And can I get a motion to, we're looking for note and receive on this one, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I can, Brian.
Okay, Bob, Kelly, okay, perfect. Okay, item number 3, Loyalist Township Trunk or Treat.
Yeah, so
Jillian again?
through the chair, I can speak on that. So Trunk or Treat is being hosted again in Loyalist Township. It is actually hosted by our Heritage, Culture, and Tourism Division, and it will be at the Odessa Fairgrounds on October 26th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we just wanted to welcome any and everyone to come and join the event.
Great.
Excellent.
Your flyer looked amazing, Jillian, and I always look forward to hearing how you guys do at the event. I know it's a fantastic turnout, and I'm sure this year will be no different. So I'm
Thank
sure
you so
your
much.
community members are looking forward to it.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a beautiful flyer and well done.
That will have to go, that kudos can go to our Heritage and Cultural Tourism Division. They created the flyer, so I'll make sure to pass that kudos on to them. Thank you.
Okay, can I get a note? Any other questions on that? Can we get a note and receive on that?
I can do that.
Kelly and Bob. Okay. Alrighty. On to Addington Highlands Trunk or Treat. And does Patricia want to speak on that? There you are. Go ahead, Patricia.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So through the chair, thank you. This is a report just to let everyone know that we're having the 7th annual Trunk or Treat event here on the 31st of October. The event is organized by a local community member. She's still pulling the event together. The municipality support the event by providing the parking lot here at the municipal hall and providing access to the accessible washrooms and some signage for the event as well through treat accessibility. We put out some signage and the flyer was included as well for the committee, and they provide some hot dogs during the event, and it's grown to be quite the thing. She has actually received some activation funding from the county and bought some different things. She does a little tunnel and different things for the kids, so it's quite the event now.
Excellent. Any questions for
Patricia, I think
Patricia?
you guys always do a great job with your Trunk or Treat event, and I'm sure your community is looking forward to it. I'm not sure if this matters or not, or if this has to be put to the public, but the document prior to your flyer, Flinton is spelled wrong. It's missing the L, so I'm not sure if that matters or not. But I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. But the flyer itself looks fantastic. There's no spelling errors on that.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get a note and receive on that one as well.
I can do that, Brian.
Kelly and Bob, okay. Okay, item number 5, Addington Highlands desk audit. And again, that'll be Patricia speaking on that.
I can, thank you, through the chair again. The municipality was selected and successfully completed a desk audit through the ministry. And I just wanted to provide that update for the committee.
Hey, any questions for Patricia on that?
No, everything looks
Nothing.
in order.
Yeah, we'll get a note received for that then. Bob and Kelly. Okay. Item number 6, County of LNA multi-year accessibility plan. And Tracy, would you like to speak to that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a draft of our 2026 to 2030 multi-year accessibility plan. Under the Act, every municipality must have a multi-year plan, and it can be up to 5 years. We have always done ours as a 5-year plan. So the majority of the plan is quite similar to previous years, but you'll see we put in highlights any of the additions or changes to the plan. So at this point, we're hoping to get feedback from this committee. We bring it here first, and then once this committee, if you've given us any feedback, we'll include it in the plan and then take it to County Council next for their approval. So I'd be pleased to answer any questions the committee may have.
Any questions for Tracy on that at all?
It's not a question, it's just a comment. Very happy to see that the John Parent Center is making some changes to their building, and I'm sure the residents will look forward to the new improvements, and I just wanted to congratulate them on that. Also, I wanted to say that I'm very impressed that the Napanee Library is including the adoption of using Daisy, which is an audiobook program that they've used for a long time in Ottawa. So I'm glad to see that a community like ours is following that line of thinking. So congratulations on that.
Excellent. Anything else? So Tracy, what are you looking for here? Just a note receive on this, or?
We'd like the committee to approve. If there's no other feedback, then we don't need to include any other feedback. We just would need the committee to approve the draft multi-year plan.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve this plan?
I would so approve, Brian.
Bob, and seconded by Kelly. Okay, is that everything you need for that, Tracy? All good there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. On item number 7, committee appointments, October 6th. And Tracy, you'll speak to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So our community members of the committee are appointed for 2-year terms, which come up at the end of this year. 2 members from the community have agreed to continue on the committee, and we're grateful for that. So we will advertise, we'll send it to this committee, to our 4 lower tiers, and to County Council, and any other way we can advertise it, our website, that type of thing, to get an additional member. And we will have those members approved by County Council in January in a closed session meeting at that time.
Okay.
So I'd be pleased to answer any questions the committee may have.
Okay, so that's just looking for committee member or community members. Okay, perfect. I want to make sure I stay put where I am, so I don't want a repeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All righty. Any other any questions on that? Okay. All righty. Note and receive on that one, I guess. Kelly and Bob, perfect. Okay, matters for information. Moving on to 2026 scheduled meetings. Proposed meeting dates. Any questions on the proposed meeting dates coming up, or any conflicts anybody knows?
As of right now, I think I'm fine.
I'm okay too, Brian.
Yep.
It's a long ways off, so.
It's a long ways off, yes, and unfortunately, it is long enough off. We can make changes if we need be. So,
Yeah,
all right, excellent. Is there any other business?
Tracy, I just had a question.
I'm sorry, can you,
Oh.
Kelly, could you just get a
That's okay.
motion to note and receive the
Oh,
schedule
I'm
of
sorry.
meetings?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, can I get a note, motion to note and receive from Kelly and Bob? Okay. All righty. And you had a
So-
question, Kelly?
Yes, so my question, Tracy, is I noticed with the trunk or treat, there's one for the Loyalist area and one for Addington Highlands. However, I didn't see one for Napanee, so does that mean we're not doing it this year? Or it just got overlooked as far as the agenda goes?
We did not receive one, but we have Aaron from the town and Holly from the town both on the meeting, and maybe one of them can
Okay, I
comment.
just wanted to make sure that if we were doing it, that we did know that it was happening, and if we weren't, that we also knew that as well.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for your question, and I apologize for our error in not sending this in advance. We absolutely are hosting our annual trunk or treat this year in Napanee. It's going to be at our town hall as usual. It's happening on October 26th from 1 to 3 p.m.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to share that.
Yeah, because I was just looking. You're quicker than I am, Holly, but thank you. I knew we were having one. All righty. Any other business? Seeing none, can I get a motion for adjournment? Bob, Kelly. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. And sorry I was late. I've been a little sidetracked.